Aloha, my love. Oh my goodness. I just been jamming to some tunes, nothing like some really high vibe music to get you in the vibe. And on that note, today I want to chat with you about the topic of being high vibe and the toxic positivity trap. So, my name is Helena Das, and I am the founder of the Dark Horse Movement, and welcome to my channel, Dark Horse Rises, a sacred portal to remember your magic as a dark horse, a deep feeler, a sensitive soul, a chain breaker or chosen one, and soul-led entrepreneur who knows that it is their time to mother effing rise, thrive, and shine like never before from the inside out without burnout. So I am in rare form today, and I want again to chat with you about this whole toxic positivity trap and on being high vibe. And I know that there are some people who talk about the war against happy people, and I want to be clear that I have nothing against happy people. I'm happy if you are truly happy, and that is the word. And there is also a subtle gray area. There is a choice point when we are the conscious creators of our reality, where there are times and moments and places where we get to choose, right? Whether we want to feed the fire of our desire and fuel our goals and dreams and success, or feed the not fire, but the fear, the doubt, the resistance, right? So there's two layers here that I want to address. And that piece right there around feeding, having the choice, the free will to literally feed what it is you choose, is an important piece of stepping into being that conscious creator of your reality. And I am here to say again, there is a subtle gray area where if you're trying to do that, if you are trying to quote unquote think positive and stay high vibe, when inside something inside of you is hurting or angry or frustrated, and you haven't done anything to address that, then that's what I'm not a stand for, because that is actually what they call doing a spiritual bypass. So let's take a moment first. I want to define for you what I mean when I talk about being high vibe, and I don't think this is what the general consensus is. I know when I first started learning about the law of attraction and thinking positive and all the things, I used to think that high vibe was meant being positive all the time and having like this high vibe energy. And while that can be part of the equation, for me, being high vibe simply means being connected to a higher power, whether that be your higher self, whether that be, source, the God of your understanding, divine intelligence, etc. Whatever words work for you, but you are connected to a higher power. And when you are connected to a higher power and your higher self, that is going to raise your vibration. And when you're coming from that place, it doesn't matter if, for example, you're feeling happy or sad or positive or bad. Okay, there's no judgment there, because the higher power, the higher self, is coming from a place of non-judgment, of neutral, gentle compassion, and unconditional love. And so with that being said, being high vibe does not have to look like being quote unquote positive all the time, although it can be, okay? And so that's the first sort of distinction or definition that I want to share here about being high vibe. Being high vibe also does not mean that, for example, you are, like writing your, doing your journaling or your affirmations every day or your meditations. It doesn't mean that you don't enjoy a glass of wine occasionally, or do things that quote unquote might be considered like bad or not spiritual. It doesn't mean that you like give all your, give the farm away if you're a soul-led entrepreneur or biz owner, okay? That is not the definition of high vibe. And again, it's going to look different for every individual because you are aligning with your soul and your source and your higher power. Okay, that's the first piece. The second piece on this toxic positivity, and obviously they're connected, is where there is such a myth, or I don't know if you want to call it misunderstanding, or if they consciously, the powers that be, did this intentionally to try to control us. Really, when you're trying to be positive all the time and you're bypassing how you truly feel, again, with the tools and the awareness in the moment to, be present with, shift, feel the feelings, alchemize them, whatever it needs to be done in the moment for you at any given time. Okay, there's no right or wrong here. Maybe you're in a certain situation where you're at work or somewhere in public and you don't have the time in that moment, if something triggers you, to literally, go and maybe breathe or tap or allow yourself to kind of process those emotions, right? So in those moments, it may be that you're doing some sort of a combination of, maybe you find like a restroom and go take 5 minutes to like breathe and be on your own, or maybe you are temporarily, as you're going through whatever you're doing, like, breathing on the inside and having sort of like your inner coach and higher self kind of talking you through it, okay? But it's not about overriding or, again, bypassing your truth, your soul's truth. Now, here is a caveat. When you find yourself in repetitive patterns on that mental merry-go-round, repeating trauma loops is what they are, that is a sign that you have some sort of unresolved trauma or stressful event that your nervous system is trying to protect you from, okay? Protect you, keep you safe, protect you from like getting hurt again, okay? And that is an indication that some deeper work, processing, inner child healing, something needs to happen there to address that, because that trauma loop is going to keep on recycling until it's addressed, okay? Because your biology, your body remembers, okay? So that's in that case. But if it's not like a repetitive thing and you're just navigating your day-to-day life and, shiz happens, right? Stuff is going to come up. How you navigate that is up to you. Like, you are basically dancing with the divine. You're dancing with spirit. You're dancing with life. It's kind of like maybe riding with or being with your horse, right? Each of you have your own individual energies and maybe moods for the day, and constitutions, which is a whole other topic. If you're interested in learning about the energetic archetypes, which are actually now being called my dark horse archetypes, and a quiz coming soon, so stay tuned. But if you are, by the way, interested in learning the basics of the 5 energetic archetypes based on the 5 elements in traditional Chinese medicine, my background, in case you're new, is a renegade vet for almost 2 decades, where I practiced Chinese medicine, chiropractic, acupuncture, and more, to horse shaman, to now equine mystic and soul guide for entrepreneurs who love horses and or work with them. And so if that's something that interests you, look down below, and there will be an opportunity to get a hold of my free masterclass called Activate Your Dark Horse Medicine, where I go into more depth in that, if you would like that, when you join the herd and sign up for my email list. So that being said, coming back to the topic at hand, when you are navigating, your day and life, right, there's a certain level of awareness and presence and consciousness that we start to implement as more conscious souls who are seeking to, expand and grow and elevate, right, who we are being and how we navigate life and how we're showing up. And so that gets to be, as I was saying, similar, akin to perhaps if you have a horse, and you can relate this to other relationships, 2-legged as well, or, 4-legged. And your relationship, you're each individuals, and yet you have this sacred bond and you're sharing energy. And the way you're wired to share that energy is going to be unique to each of you. Okay. Again, hence the energetic archetypes or dark horse archetypes that I mentioned. And when you have that awareness, right, the way you navigate the triggers and shiz, obstacles, challenges, etc. that come up is going to be different for you. And maybe right now you have, maybe you have tapping in your toolkit. Maybe you like to go exercise or dance or, do breath work, whatever that looks like for you. And there's no right or wrong way. You get to find what works for you. And so that's where we truly get to take our power back and again step into being the conscious creator of our reality. And so, and in there, that's where moment to moment, day to day, we are getting to choose what we are feeding, again, in terms of quote unquote, if something feels more positive and empowering versus negative and disempowering. And so again, it is not black and white. And, there's a lot of nuances in there, but I want you to know at the end of the day that you are always, you are always the operant power. It is your self-authority. It is your self-sovereignty that is choosing with your free will to create along the way. And so to kind of just pull this all together, I really wanted to say that based on a lot of the spiritual communities really pushing, the positivity all the time, while I am a fan and prefer to feel good and stay positive and quote high vibe based on the definition I gave you earlier, I also want you to know that it is also a lie and or a form of spiritual bypassing, or even, you could even call it like gaslighting yourself in the wrong way if you are, again, overriding, stuffing, suppressing, and really, it's self-betrayal and self-abandonment at the end of the day when you're not being true to yourself. And yes, we want to grow. Yes, we want to rise. Yes, we want to elevate our perspective and our energy and our mindset and all the things. And we want to do that in a way where we are leading with love and practicing radical self-love along the way. So I would love to hear how this landed for you. If you received value, don't forget to like and subscribe and do all the things. And don't forget, again, if that speaks to you, to grab my free Activate Your Dark Horse Medicine Masterclass training. It's over 90 minutes of pure gold. Again, you can get that when you join my email list. And other than that, may the force of the dark horse be with you. Together we ride, together we rise. Ciao for now. I love you. Namaste.